Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Triple H branded a member of the Bloodline a destroyer ahead of tonight's episode of WWE SmackDown. Solo Sikoa will be returning to WWE TV tonight after losing the Tribal Combat match to Roman Reigns on Raw earlier this month ahead of tonight's edition of SmackDown. The game shared a behind-the-scenes look at Jacob Fatu's entrance. In the video, Triple H walks the Samoan werewolf through his entrance with Tama Tonga. The cerebral assassin noted that Fatu was a destroyer, and you can check out the video in the post below. Solo Sikoa made several changes to the Bloodline after Roman Reigns lost the undisputed WWE Championship to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania XL. Paul Heyman and Jimmy Uso were kicked out of the group, while Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa and Jacob Fatu were named new members of the faction. Roman Reigns, the Usos, Sami Zayn, and CM Punk defeated Solo Sikoa's version of the Bloodline in the Men's War Games match at Survivor Series 2024. CM Punk agreed to compete alongside the OG Bloodline in exchange for a favor from Paul Heyman. Wrestling legend Vince Russo sent a message of thanks to Triple H following this week's edition of Raw. Speaking on Wrestling's Legion of Raw podcast, Russo shared his reaction to the Red brand going off the air 30 minutes sooner than usual this past Monday night. The veteran joked that it was like Christmas morning for him and thanked the King of Kings for ending the show early. You can check out the video below. Jacob Fatu debuted for the company last year and has already made a name for himself on SmackDown. It will be interesting to see if the veteran can capture his first singles title in the company this year. In the ever-evolving world of WWE, the drama and spectacle of the ring are often matched by the layers of storytelling that transcend what happens during the match itself. One of the most compelling stories in recent years has been the saga of the Bloodline, a dominant faction built around the Samoan family lineage of Roman Reigns, the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, and his cousins, the Usos, as well as Solo Sikoa. However, ahead of a major WWE SmackDown episode, a new twist was introduced to the ongoing saga. A major Bloodline member is given an entirely new nickname by none other than Triple H himself. The scene unfolded in a backstage segment just days before the latest edition of SmackDown. The lights were low, the atmosphere tense, and the air crackling with anticipation as the cameras focused on the familiar face of Triple H, the Game, who had recently taken over the creative direction of WWE. His influence was undeniable, and in the ring and backstage, things were about to change. A meeting behind closed doors. It was a regular Tuesday evening when Triple H called for a meeting at WWE headquarters. Inside the room were several key figures from the Bloodline, including Roman Reigns, the undisputed leader of the faction, as well as his cousins, Jimmy and Jey Uso, and the enforcer of the group, Solo Sikoa. Despite the fractured nature of the Bloodline over the past year, the family had largely remained united under Roman's dominance and leadership. Let's talk about what's next for the Bloodline, Triple H began, his voice commanding the attention of everyone in the room. The atmosphere shifted instantly, as everyone knew when the Game spoke. It was never just about what happened in the ring, there was always a bigger plan at play. Roman Reigns, dressed in his signature black attire, exuded confidence, leaning back in his chair as he listened intently. His cousins, Jey and Jimmy Uso, exchanged glances while Solo Sikoa, the silent powerhouse of the faction, stared straight ahead with a stoic expression. Triple H continued, "Roman, we've been through a lot in the past year. The family has undergone so many twists and turns, but the one constant is that the Bloodline is always at the top of the food chain. We've made history, no question about it." Roman nodded, but there was something in his eyes, an ever-present desire to maintain not only dominance but also control over the entire narrative. "But," Triple H added, "I think it's time to evolve. I think it's time to take the story to the next level. And to do that, we need something more. We need to rebrand and redefine certain members of the group. And I'm looking at you, Solo Sikoa." Typically a man of few words, tilted his head slightly. It was rare for someone like Triple H to single him out. After all, he had only been a part of the main roster for a short time, but already he was a feared presence, known for his brutal style and the aura of violence he carried with him. The respect of the locker room was something Solo had earned quickly, but here, Triple H was suggesting something much more significant. "I want to give you a new identity," Triple H said, his voice laced with gravitas. "A new moniker that reflects who you are, what you represent, and where you're going in the company." Solo's brow furrowed as he leaned forward. "What do you have in mind?" he asked, his deep voice filled with curiosity. Triple H paused for a moment, letting the anticipation build in the room. "From now on, you will be known as the Enforcer of the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, the Enforcer." There was a sense of finality in Triple H's voice, and everyone in the room could feel the weight of the decision. Roman Reigns looked pleased. The Enforcer. It had a certain weight to it, a role that not only underscored Solo's brutal power, but also his loyalty to Roman and the family. It spoke to his no-nonsense attitude and the way he handled business in the ring and out of it. Solo Sikoa, for the first time in the meeting, cracked a slight smile. He had earned a reputation as a powerhouse, and now he had a name to match that. A nickname that elevated him beyond just another member of the Bloodline. He was the Enforcer, the muscle who made sure that Roman's dominance was never challenged. "We'll debut this new identity on SmackDown," Triple H said as he looked around the room. "Make no mistake, this is your time to shine, Solo. You're going to show the WWE Universe what it means to be the Enforcer." SmackDown night, the Bloodline's new dynamic. The night of SmackDown arrived, and the atmosphere in the arena was electric. Fans were buzzing with excitement, knowing that they would witness something special. The Bloodline's influence was already palpable, with Roman Reigns, the Usos, and Solo Sikoa all having a major presence on the show. But tonight, the focus was on Solo Sikoa's new identity, the Enforcer of the Bloodline. As the show began, the camera cut backstage to a shot of the Bloodline arriving at the arena. Solo Sikoa walked in first, his demeanor as cold as ever, but now there was something different about him, an air of authority that had been added to his presence. Roman Reigns, flanked by his cousins, was in full character, his eyes gleaming with pride as he saw the new look and aura of his cousin. The weight of leadership rested heavily on Roman's shoulders, but with Solo now stepping into a more defined role, it allowed Roman to focus even more on his championship reign and the family's legacy. The segment that followed was one that captivated the audience and solidified the direction the Bloodline was taking. In the ring, Roman Reigns was poised and confident as always, holding his championship belt high above his head. But it was when Solo Sikoa's entrance music hit that the fans erupted with anticipation. The Titantron flashed the words, "The Enforcer," in bold letters as Solo made his way down the ramp. His entrance was intense, and the crowd could sense the shift in his character. No longer just Roman's enforcer, Solo was a force unto himself, someone who demanded attention and respect from anyone who dared to step into the ring. The crowd roared as Solo climbed into the ring and stood beside Roman, the two of them sharing a moment of solidarity. The Usos stood behind them, their own future uncertain, but for now, the Bloodline was as strong as ever. Roman took the mic, his voice filled with authority as he spoke. "Tonight, we introduce you to the future of the Bloodline. Solo Sikoa isn't just a part of our family, he's our enforcer, the muscle that will ensure that we remain untouchable. You've all witnessed what he can do, and now, you'll see what happens when he has a purpose. He's not just the cousin in the background anymore, he's the enforcer." Solo's cold stare never wavered. The camera zoomed in on him as he stared down the WWE Universe, making it clear that he was ready to step into his new role with conviction. He wasn't just a member of the Bloodline, he was now an irreplaceable cornerstone of the family's power structure. The impact of the new nickname. The impact of this new moniker was immediate. Fans on social media began buzzing with excitement about Solo Sikoa's rebranding. The Enforcer quickly became a catchphrase, with fans praising the decision as an elevation of Solo's character. It gave him a distinct identity and purpose, differentiating him from his role as just Roman's muscle, and instead highlighting his own significance within the group. In the weeks that followed, Solo's matches became more aggressive, his in-ring style more calculated and precise. He began to target opponents with ruthless precision, using the Enforcer moniker as both a psychological and physical weapon. His brutal power was now not just about dominance, it was about enforcing the will of the Bloodline. Opponents who found themselves in the ring with Solo knew that they were stepping into a fight that would test them both physically and mentally. Roman Reigns, ever the mastermind, also benefited from this shift in the faction's dynamic. With Solo now embodying the enforcer role, Roman's presence as the head of the table became even more potent. He was no longer just the champion, he was the kingpin at the center of a family dynasty, with Solo as his loyal enforcer and protector. The Usos, too, found new relevance within this evolving dynamic. Their place in the Bloodline was now more defined, as they navigated the changing tides of family loyalty and competition. With Solo standing firmly as the enforcer, the Usos had to find their own roles within the family's hierarchy. For the fans, the rebranding of Solo Sikoa was a moment that marked a new chapter in the Bloodline saga, a chapter that would unfold in ways no one could predict. Conclusion. Triple H's decision to give Solo Sikoa the nickname of the Enforcer was a masterstroke that added depth and intrigue to the Bloodline storyline. It solidified Solo as not just a member of the faction, but a key figure whose presence would forever change the course of WWE history. By doing so, Triple H created a dynamic that elevated the Bloodline to new heights, and the WWE Universe was now on the edge of their seats, waiting to see what came next for the Enforcer and his family. As SmackDown continued, the reign of Roman Reigns and his Bloodline only seemed to grow stronger, with Solo Sikoa now standing firmly as its enforcer. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our WWE official YouTube channel for more update news.